Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. You want to know what makes a man sit up at night, stare at his phone, and wonder what went wrong? It's when that woman, the one who used to text him first, the one who used to show up, answer every call, and argue just to be heard, goes silent. That's when he gets restless. Not when you cry, not when you beg, not when you explain, but when you detach. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real simple, real clear. When a woman learns the art of detachment, she unlocks a kind of power most people can't even handle. See, detachment ain't weakness. It's not giving up. It's not about being cold-hearted or emotionless. Nah, detachment is strength, it's discipline. It's when you realize your heart is too valuable to be thrown into chaos and your peace is too expensive to be compromised by confusion. You ever seen a woman who used to give everything? I'm talking about the type of woman who poured love, time, energy, and understanding into a man even when he didn't do half as much in return. She forgives when she shouldn't have to. She explains herself over and over again to someone who ain't even listening. She puts up with late replies, canceled plans, mixed signals, and yet she stays, she tries, because she sees potential, because her heart is loyal. But then one day, something shifts. She doesn't cry this time. She doesn't argue. She just gets quiet. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the beginning of her detachment. That silence, that's not passive. That's not defeat. That's a woman reclaiming her power. Now, let me tell you what happens next. The man feels it. Oh, yeah, he may pretend like he's fine. He may scroll through his phone, hang with his boys, post like he ain't pressed, but trust me, deep down, he knows. He knows something is different. She ain't chasing him no more. She ain't checking good morning or checking in during the day. Her energy is gone, and not just physically, but emotionally. You see, when a woman detaches, she ain't halfway with it. It's full. Her spirit pulls back. Her smile stops being for him. Her love redirects inward. And that's what rattles a man. You want to mess up a man who's used to having access to you? Detach. You don't even need to block him. Let him see you living, glowing, unbothered. Let him watch you give yourself all that love you used to give him for free. That's when it hits him. He thought she would always be there. He thought she would always pick up. He thought he could come back whenever he felt like it, but no. Now she's detached, and the door that used to be wide open is shut, locked, and painted over. Now, don't get it twisted. Detachment ain't about ego. It's not about playing games. It's about choosing peace over patterns. It's about recognizing that emotional availability is a privilege, not a guarantee. And when someone treats it like it's disposable, you stop offering it. Not to punish them, not to make them chase you, but because you finally understand you deserve better. Some of y'all are trying to heal in the same place you got hurt. You keep revisiting wounds trying to fix a dynamic that was broken from day one. But the power comes when you stop trying to be everything for someone who can't even meet you halfway. That's what detachment is. It's walking away, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. It's saying, I love you, but I love me more. I know it ain't easy. Because when you love hard, detachment feels like breaking your own heart. But the truth is, you already broke your own heart by staying in something that made you feel small. Detachment is how you heal that. It's how you stop giving CPR to dead situations. And when you stop showing up for someone who never truly saw your value, that's when you start showing up for yourself. And guess what happens? They get restless, they start noticing, they miss the comfort, the attention, the effort, but now it's too late. Because the woman they ignored, she evolved, she leveled up, she detached, and in doing so, she became unstoppable. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most men don't understand until it's too late. A man doesn't always feel your value when you're giving it. He feels it when it's gone. See, the truth is, some people get so used to your presence that they start mistaking it for permanence. They start thinking you'll always be there, always checking on them, always picking up the pieces, always making the effort. But the moment you pull that value back, not out of spite, not out of anger, but out of clarity, he feels it in his soul. That's when everything hits him. And that right there is when he becomes restless. Men are wired to take what they can get for as long as they can get it. That's not to say all men are bad, no. But it's to say some men don't appreciate the gold they've got in their hands because they're too distracted chasing glitter. And when a woman is loyal, nurturing, and consistent, sometimes he starts seeing her as part of the background. She becomes the default, the one who always forgives, the one who sticks around. But when she finally stops showing up like she used to, that's when he wakes up. That's when the panic sets in. See, you were the one who kept him grounded. You were the one who gave him reassurance when his world got shaky. You gave him comfort, loyalty, late night conversations, understanding on his worst days. You were his peace, his cheerleader, his mirror. And he didn't even realize the level of value you were pouring into his life until the faucet ran dry. And that's the thing. Value ain't loud. It ain't flashy. Real value is quiet, consistent, and powerful. It becomes part of someone's life so deeply that when it's gone, the silence is deafening. Now let's talk about what happens when that value disappears. He starts scrolling through old texts, listening to voice notes, rewatching videos, replaying memories, and it hits him. You were the blessing he didn't water. You were the woman who saw him when he couldn't even see himself. And instead of rising to your level, he got comfortable in your effort. He thought you would stay through anything because you always had. But now you're gone. You stop texting first. You stop explaining yourself. You stop waiting for him to change. And suddenly his world don't feel so secure. You see, fellas don't always recognize the impact a woman has on their lives until she becomes unavailable. Not because she ghosted, not because she blocked him, but because she outgrew the version of herself that tolerated the bare minimum. And let me tell you, when a woman who's been patient finally moves on, she doesn't come back. Because that decision wasn't made overnight. That was a slow, silent build. She didn't just walk away. She healed while standing right next to him. She realized that her value wasn't tied to being needed. Her value was in being whole. Now that man is sitting with the consequences of his comfort. That restlessness, that's not just him missing you. That's him missing the feeling of being seen, heard, and supported. That's him recognizing that no other woman matches the energy you brought. Not because you were perfect, but because you were genuine, and genuine is rare. And the rarest part of all, you gave him everything without demanding it back. You gave out of love. You gave from your spirit. You gave because that's who you are. And now he's left trying to find that again, but without you. So understand this, your presence had value, your voice, your touch, your loyalty. It was worth more than he ever realized while he had it. And now that it's gone, he can't escape the weight of that loss. That's what makes him restless. That's what has him checking your profile, asking your friends, trying to casually reappear. But the value you offered wasn't meant to be rediscovered. It was meant to be cherished when it was there. And now he has to live with the truth that he had a woman of worth and didn't know how to treat her. And the saddest part for him, she's not looking back. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something most people never figure out until it's too late. The loudest woman in the room, the one begging for attention, explaining herself over and over again, she's not the one who stays on a man's mind. The one who lingers in his thoughts, who keeps him up at night, who makes him curious, who makes him chase it. She's the one who says less. She's the woman who lets her silence do the talking. That's the woman who becomes unforgettable because mystery creates desire. And when you stop putting all your cards on the table, he starts playing the game differently. When you're too available, too predictable, too easy to reach, you become part of the routine. And the thing about routine is folks stop paying attention to it. But let a woman shift gears. Let her pull back her energy. Let her stop reacting, stop explaining, stop doing the same things every day. Now suddenly, she's all he can think about. Because people don't value what they have unlimited access to. But take that access away and watch the desire kick in. A man will not chase what he knows he already has. And if every time he reaches out, you right there, if every time he disappears, you welcome him back with open arms, he doesn't have to wonder. He doesn't have to try. But when you stop giving answers, when you stop updating him on how you feel, when your energy becomes a little more reserved, he starts to wonder. And the moment he wonders, the moment he's no longer sure where he stands, he begins to desire again. Let me break it down like this. Men love mystery, not because they want to be confused, but because they're built to pursue. It's in their nature. The unknown pulls at them. It wakes them up. When a woman becomes a little less predictable, when she no longer reacts to every little thing, when she no longer needs to prove herself, now she becomes someone he has to figure out. And that curiosity, that's where desire is born. You ever notice how men will move heaven and earth in the beginning? When they first getting to know you, they'll call, they'll show up, they'll plan things. But after a while, if you make it too easy, too comfortable, they start slipping. Not because they're bad, but because the spark of pursuit fades. And it fades when everything is out in the open, when there's no mystery left, when he knows you'll always be there. But let him see you pull back. Let him see that you've got a life that doesn't revolve around him, that you're not sitting around waiting for his attention, that you've got peace, purpose, and power without needing to announce it. That's when he starts checking. That's when he starts chasing. Because now you're not predictable. You're not easily accessible. You've got boundaries. And that throws him off. And that space you've created, that distance, makes him crave your presence again. Mystery doesn't mean playing games. It doesn't mean being dishonest or manipulative. It means preserving parts of yourself. It means understanding that your vulnerability, your time, your truth, it's earned, not handed out for free. A woman who holds herself with that kind of grace, with that kind of discipline, becomes unforgettable. She doesn't have to beg for attention. She commands it just by being a little less available, a little less obvious, a little more focused on herself. So ladies, stop explaining yourself so much. Stop over communicating with people who aren't even listening. Stop being so emotionally naked for someone who's barely paying attention. Your silence is powerful. Your mystery is magnetic. When you pull back and take care of yourself, when you give him space to miss you, to wonder about you, to reflect on what you meant to him, that's when desire comes back. That's when he becomes restless. Because now he doesn't know what's on your mind. And let me tell you something. When a man doesn't know, he starts wanting to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that ain't said enough. Sometimes the only way a man will ever learn to respect you is if you create some distance. I ain't talking about a dramatic exit or storming off to make a scene. I'm talking about the kind of distance that speaks louder than any argument, louder than any long message, louder than any emotional outburst. The kind of distance that makes a man stop and reflect. That kind of silence, that kind of space, that's where respect is born. See, some men only start valuing you when they no longer have instant access to you, when you're always available, when you're always there to clean up the emotional mess, to listen to excuses, to make things work, even when you're not being met halfway. He gets too comfortable. He starts assuming you'll always be there, that no matter what he does or doesn't do, you'll keep showing up. But then comes the day when you no longer respond the same way. You stop initiating, you stop being emotionally open, and just like that, the air changes. That's when he starts feeling it, not in your words, but in your absence. That's when he realizes this ain't about you trying to punish him or play games. This is about you protecting your peace. Because when you back away from someone who constantly disrespected your time, your love, and your energy, that man starts asking questions he never asked before. He starts wondering why you no longer reacting, why you're not emotional anymore, why you're not chasing. That quiet distance becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, he finally sees himself. A woman who removes herself without noise is a woman who finally understands her worth. She's not trying to make a man feel bad. She's not trying to get even. She's just done handing over pieces of herself to someone who can't handle the responsibility. That kind of move, it earns respect. Because nothing teaches a man faster than losing something he thought he didn't have to work for. Men may not admit this, but when you pull away, when you stop over-explaining, when you stop begging for change, they start listening to the silence. They start comparing. They start remembering. And often they start regretting. Because now you're no longer present to absorb their inconsistencies. You're no longer acting like their emotional safety net. And in that absence, your value becomes crystal clear. You see, people don't respect what they can predict. If they know you answer every time, forgive every time, show up every time, they stop feeling the need to match that energy. But when you create that distance, they start reflecting on everything they didn't do. They notice how peaceful it was when you were there, how grounded you made them feel, how good it was to have someone who believed in them even when they didn't deserve it. And now that it's gone, they respect what they once ignored. The problem is we've been taught to believe that love means staying close no matter what. But real love, self-love, sometimes looks like stepping back. Sometimes it's not about proving your worth, but about making space